The shaman explains that in the old days, if you wanted gold, you had to be the story. You had to stand on a rock, wave your arms, and hope people liked you. This is what most people think YouTube is. They think they need to be a star. They think they need a perfect face, a perfect voice, a perfect cave with perfect lighting. They think the gold only flows to hunters who dance and perform. They look at the village square and see all the loud, famous hunters collecting gold coins, and they assume that is the only way. But the millionaires, the shaman whispers, they have a secret. They don't tell the stories. They own the story cabins. This is YouTube automation. Imagine you build a small cabin in the village square. Inside you put a magic puppet, an AI character or animation. The puppet tells stories about the history of forbidden flint, or how to build a mansion out of mud. You aren't in the cabin. You are back in your cave, sleeping. But 24 hours a day, villagers from across the world walk into your cabin. They watch the puppet. And for every person who walks in, a merchant, an advertiser, stands at the door and pays you a tiny piece of gold. One person is a pebble. 1 million people? That's a mountain of gold. And because the puppet never gets tired, the gold never stops flowing. Not when you sleep. Not when you eat. Not when you take your family to the river. The puppet just keeps telling stories, and the merchants just keep dropping gold coins at the door. Most hunters hear this and think it sounds too simple. They think there must be a trick. But the trick is that there is no trick. The system works because the village square never closes. While every other hunter in the valley shuts down at sunset, your story cabin stays open. Villagers from the Sun Tribe walk in during your morning. Villagers from the Snow Tribe walk in during your night. The cabin does not care what time it is. It just keeps collecting. That is the difference between a hunter and an owner. The hunter trades time for meat. The owner builds something that trades attention for gold, without the owner being there at all. The Goldberry Multiplier. The caveman's eyes go wide. But surely one cabin is not enough to be a millionaire. The shaman nods. You are right. A single hunter can only be in one place. But a system architect can build 10 cabins, or 50. The shaman shows him a map of the valley. Look at Lo-Fi Girl. She has a cabin where a puppet simply sits and studies to music. She makes $40,000 every single moon. Look at Brightside. They have a giant palace of moving drawings that earns $75,000 a moon, and they never, ever show a human face. The caveman stares at the map. No face? No voice? Just drawings and music? Just drawings and music, the shaman repeats, and gold coins piling higher than most hunters will ever see in their lifetime. This is how millionaires are made. 1. Scale. They don't have one job, they have a fleet of digital machines. One cabin tells stories about history. Another tells stories about money. Another tells stories about health. Each cabin runs on its own. Each cabin collects its own gold coins. The hunter who built them checks in once a day, sometimes less, and watches the pile grow. 2. Global reach. Their cabins aren't just for our tribe. People from the Sun Tribe, the Snow Tribe, and the Desert Tribe all visit. A story about saving gold coins works in every language. A story about building a stronger body works in every village. The cabin does not see borders. It sees villagers. And villagers are everywhere. 3. Compound growth. Every story you put in the cabin stays there forever. A story you made 3 winters ago is still catching gold coins today while you are out picking berries. This is the part most hunters never understand. They think each story is a one-time hunt. Kill the rabbit, eat the rabbit, go hunt again tomorrow. But a story cabin is not a rabbit. It is a goldberry bush. You plant it once. It grows forever. And the more bushes you plant, the bigger the harvest gets, without planting faster. The caveman looks at the hunters around the valley. They are all running, all sweating, all chasing the same rabbit every single morning. Then he looks at the map again. The cabin owners are sitting by the fire. Some of them have not chased a rabbit in years. They do not need to. The bushes are doing the work. The high gold campfires. The niche secret. But shaman, the caveman asks, do all stories bring the same gold? No, the shaman grunts. The merchants are smart. If you tell a story about funny cats, they only give you a few copper coins. Why? Because the people watching funny cats aren't looking to spend gold. They are bored. They are killing time. The merchants know this, so they pay very little to stand at that cabin door. But, the shaman leans in, if you tell a story about how to manage your gold pile, finance, or how to build a stone palace, real estate, the merchants will give you a giant pile of gold for every 1,000 viewers. We call this RPM, revenue per mille. The shaman draws 2 cabins in the dirt. Cabin 1 tells funny cat stories. It gets 10,000 villagers a day. The merchant pays 2 copper coins per 1,000. That hunter earns 20 copper coins. He draws the second cabin bigger. Cabin 2 tells stories about protecting your gold coins from the tax spirit. It gets 2,000 villagers a day, much less. But the merchant pays 30 gold coins per 1,000. That hunter earns 60 gold coins. The caveman blinks. The smaller cabin earns more? 3 times more, the shaman says, because the villagers walking into cabin 2 are not bored. They are worried about their gold. They are ready to spend. They are ready to buy tools, hire advisors, take action. The merchants know this, so they pay a fortune to stand at that door. The millionaires don't just tell any story. They pick the high gold campfires. They look for topics where the villagers are ready to spend their coins. A millionaire might get fewer viewers than a cat video, but because each viewer is high gold, they become rich 10 times faster. The shaman lists the highest paying campfires in the valley: finance, real estate, health and longevity, business and investing, technology, legal protection, insurance, self-improvement. These are the campfires where merchants fight each other to stand at the door. These are the campfires where a single story cabin can replace an entire career of rabbit chasing. Pick the right campfire, the shaman says, and you do not need 1,000,000 villagers. You need 10,000 of the right ones. That is the secret the loud hunters on the rocks never figured out. The magic spell of 2026. AI. The caveman looks at his hands. I am just a caveman. I cannot draw puppets or write long scrolls. I do not have a tribe of scribes or painters. How do I build even one cabin? The shaman points to the stone laptop. In 2026, you don't need to. We have magic spells. There is a spell called Viral Nebula that can write the script, find the pictures, and even create the puppet's voice for you. The caveman frowns. One spell does all of that? All of that, the shaman says. In the old days, you needed a tribe of 20 people to build a story cabin, a scribe to write the story, a painter to draw the pictures, a voice caster to speak the words, an editor to stitch it all together, a researcher to find the right campfire. 20 people, 20 shares of the gold coins. By the time you split the pile, there was barely enough to feed yourself. He taps the stone laptop. Now, you can do it all from your cave with one laptop. The magic spell writes the scroll. The magic spell paints the pictures. The magic spell speaks the words. You become the chief of a digital empire without ever hiring a single hunter. The entire tribe lives inside the glowing stone. The caveman stares at the stone laptop for a long time. He realizes something that changes the way he sees the entire valley. The barrier was never talent. It was never money. It was never knowing the right people. The barrier was always the cost of building. And the magic spells just knocked that barrier into the dirt. The bridge to the golden future. The caveman realizes that the millionaire isn't a title given by the sky spirit. It is a reward for building a system that serves the village. It is not luck. It is not talent. It is not being born into the right tribe. It is architecture. Building something once that works forever. While the 9-to-5 hunters are still chasing the same rabbit every day, waking up tired, running the same trail, coming home with barely enough meat to survive, the system builders are planting gold berry bushes. They are using AI to duplicate themselves. They are letting their magic puppets do the work while they enjoy their freedom. They are building cabins while others are building excuses. The difference between a hunter and an architect is not intelligence. It is not money. It is not connections. It is one decision. The decision to stop running and start building. Every single millionaire in the valley made that decision at some point. They were all hunters once. They were all tired once. They all looked at the rabbit trail one morning and said, "No more." So, the shaman says, will you pick up your spear tomorrow morning? Or will you pick up your stone laptop and start building your first story cabin? The caveman already knows the answer. Your path to the gold pile. If you're ready to stop being a hunter and start being a system builder, the shaman has left the tools at the edge of the forest for you. YouTube Automation AI Mini Course. I will teach you the exact spells to use so you can build your first cabin in days, not years. Private WhatsApp community. Join our tribe of millionaire-in-the-making builders. No faces, no spears, just systems and gold. The age of the hunter is over. The age of the millionaire architect is here. Click the link below and join us at the campfire.